Bonjour tout le monde, c'est moi Charlotte et aujourd'hui nous allons étudier quelques expressions françaises avec le verbe avoir. Ok, on y va. Okay guys, hello, this is Charlotte and this video is predominantly for my French club members, so bonjour tout le monde, but also for anyone else who's interested or maybe you're beginning French as a foreign language or a second language. So we're going to look at some verbs that take avoir. Okay, now in particular these are verbs which in English would take the verb to be. So in French you might therefore think, they take être. Mais non. Okay, so in order to look at these 8 expressions, which are very common, we need to first conjugate the verb avoir in the present tense. So let me zoom in a wee bit there. Et voilà. Bon, j'ai déjà écrit les conjugaisons. Let's have a look at how you pronounce them. So, j'ai. In fact, I might go over these with a darker pen just so that you can see. J'ai. Well, the best example of a pen to use there. Tu as. D'accord. Tu as. J'ai, tu as. I have, you have, if you like. Il ou elle or on a. Nous avons, so you've got a liaison between the S and the A there. Nous avons. D'accord, nous avons. Vous avez. Vous avez. Vous êtes à la fin. Vous avez. Ils ou elles ont. Okay, so that's very similar to the third person plural conjugation of the verb être, okay, which is S-O-N-T instead of O-N-T. But this is the difference. So instead of ils sont or elles sont, ils sont, elles sont, we have ils ont, elles ont, okay? J'ai, tu as, il, elle, on a. Nous avons, vous avez, ils, elles, ont. So, what are these expressions that I'm talking about that use this avoir verb? Okay, so I'll give you some examples and then maybe I'll do some like kind of actions so you can get a sense of what I'm saying. Okay, so on y va. Oh, j'ai froid. Moi, j'ai froid. Oui, il faut mettre un pullover parce que j'ai froid. Oh, il fait froid. J'ai froid. I am cold. Cold. So, avoir froid. I'm looking for my orange pen. Voilà. So, let's do a red pen. That might be easier to see. So, if I want to say I am cold, like I feel cold, I need to use the verb avoir. So it's as if I'm saying I have cold, right? J'ai froid. Okay? So that, if you look up to be cold, as in to, like a person feels cold, you're going to find avoir froid. Okay? So if you have cold, then you also have hot, right? Okay, so oh, j'ai froid. Mais là, j'ai chaud, j'ai très chaud. I am very hot, I feel hot. Oh, j'ai chaud. Okay, so in the to form, if you want to tell someone you feel hot or ask them, do you feel hot? You're going to have to use the verb avoir. So, tu as chaud. Tu as chaud. So I think 3 of these expressions are or 3 sets of the expressions that we'll see in this video or on this handout. They're basically the opposite of each other, okay? And then there's 2 extra ones which aren't linked. So we've got avoir froid, to be cold. Avoir chaud, to be hot. And then the next one is, avoir faim. Oh, moi j'ai faim, j'ai envie de manger quelque chose. Je veux manger quelque chose. Parce que j'ai faim. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. J'ai faim. I'm hungry. Okay, so in English we say I am hungry. In French we say I have hunger. Okay, if you like. Avoir faim. Okay, so that's not pronounced femme. Okay, because femme is the word for woman or wife. Instead, this is pronounced faim. Faim. Okay, avoir faim. You don't really hear that M. So, I am cold, you are hot, he or she is hungry. Okay, so if avoir faim is to be hungry, what do you think avoir soif is? Par exemple, il a soif. Si moi, par exemple, si moi j'ai soif, ça veut dire peut-être que je veux boire quelque chose. Ok, comme ça. J'ai soif. J'ai un peu soif. I'm a little bit thirsty. J'ai très soif. Very thirsty. Or j'ai très faim. I have very much hunger, if you like. Or I have hunger very much. Okay, so faim, hunger, soif, thirst, if you like. To be cold, to be hot, to be hungry, to be thirsty. Right? It takes a bit of practice. We'll do some exercises in a minute and maybe that will make things clearer. Okay, so the next on my list, the next little sort of, the two opposites, if you like, are the following. Nous avons raison. Moi, par exemple, j'ai raison. Tu n'as pas raison, toi, mais moi, j'ai raison. Nous avons raison. Okay, so on my sheet, avoir raison is marked with a little tick, little green tick. And then underneath that you have like the opposite meaning, which is avoir tort. Okay, so nous avons raison, we are right. Okay, as in we're correct. Mais vous avez tort. So, avoir raison is to be right about something or to be right in general. And avoir tort is the opposite, it's to be wrong. Okay? So, raison et tort. To have reason, I suppose, and you might have heard of like tort in law, in legal terms. So, if that helps you to remember to be right and to be wrong, then use those as little memory aids. Now, the next two we'll put here, so they're not linked, but they are avoir peur. Avoir peur, that is to be, why don't I just do a little example? This is actually true. Earlier on, I saw a spider in my office climbing up the wall. Okay, ce n'est que petite comme ça, mais j'ai peur des araignées, donc j'avais peur. So that bit there, j'avais peur, was in, or j'avais un peu peur. Okay, I was a little bit scared. That was in the imperfect tense, but it was still the verb avoir. And avoir peur is to be afraid or to be frightened or to be scared of something or just to be scared. So, ils ont peur. So it's not pronounced in the same precise way as the word peu, okay? Peu means like a little or not very much of something. But if you pop an R at the end of it, then it becomes peur, peur, which means, well, on its own it means fear, okay? But when it's with the verb avoir, avoir peur means to have fear, to be afraid or to be scared. Avoir peur. So with all of these phrases, if you were to look them up, you would probably expect to see être. Well, you wouldn't say être peur, but you'd probably think that you'd see to be cold, to be hot, to be right, to be wrong, to be scared. But in fact, when you look them up from English and then you find the French, you'll find avoir peur. So when something like that happens and you find an expression with a different verb, don't worry, you just need to conjugate the verb and then follow it with whatever the remainder of the verb phrase is, okay? And then you have the French equivalent, okay? So, moi, par exemple, j'ai un peu peur des araignées, ok? Mais pas les petites, mais les grosses, d'accord? Les grandes, comme ça, j'ai un peu peur. Mais les petits, ça va. The last one, we've got froid, cold, to be hot, faim, and soif, hunger, thirst, raison, that's to be right, avoir tort, to be wrong, avoir peur, to be scared. The last one is, avoir plus âge. Okay, so you probably are familiar with this one. If you tell someone your age, whether it's months, years, whatever, you use avoir. So in English we say, I am 36. You are 29. He is, right? So that's from the verb to be. And so you might reasonably expect that in French you use être, which translates as to be, but you don't say je suis 10. No, you don't say nous sommes 25. No, you don't say we are, you say we have or I have. Donc moi par exemple j'ai 36 ans. J'ai 36 ans. Okay, so I'm 36. I have 36 years. So avoir plus âge. Okay. So let's look at some examples. Let's look at some examples from my handout here. I'll read them and then you tell me what, or you think about what they mean, right? J'ai trop chaud, ouvrons la fenêtre, oui. Moi j'ai trop chaud, ouvrons la fenêtre. So, j'ai trop chaud, I'm too hot. J'ai trop chaud, I have too much hot, if you like. Ouvrons la fenêtre, or ouvrons-nous la fenêtre. Let's open the window. Il a quel âge ton chien? Il a quel âge? What age does he have? Your dog? How old's your dog? So this is il a quel âge? He has what age, right? Rather than what age is he? Or how old? Il a quel âge? And then if you're saying, oh, he's about 3 years old, il a presque 3 ans. Il a presque 3 ans. He has almost 3 years, okay? Rather than he is, he has. So, il a 5 ans. Elle a 10 ans. Okay? Or, ma fille, elle a 18 mois, par exemple. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, how about... Tu n'as pas quelque chose à boire? J'ai vraiment soif. Tu n'as pas quelque chose à boire? J'ai vraiment soif. Have you got anything to drink? Or you don't have anything to drink, do you? I really am thirsty. I'm thirsty. I am really thirsty. J'ai vraiment soif. J'ai soif. So with these, like I'm really thirsty. I'm really hungry. I'm very, that kind of thing. You can use words like très, trop, vraiment, to sort of emphasize the amount or the extent to which you have hunger, you have thirst, you have heat, you have cold. Okay, so that works as if you're saying I am, but you use the verb avoir instead of it. Okay, so let's have a think. Translate the following into French. I'm cold. I'm cold. So have a look over here. I'll zoom in. Which one means to be cold? It's that first one. J'ai froid. Okay. Let's translate. She is hungry. She is hungry. Which one is to do with hunger? faim. It's already in the third person singular. Elle a faim. What about he is hungry? And you just change the subject pronoun. Il a faim. Okay. What about we are thirsty? We are thirsty. Right? So you still use we, nous. And due to the nature of all of these expressions, they all use avoir. So nous avons is going to be correct. So we are thirsty. Nous avons, which is the word for thirst? Soif. Nous avons soif. What about we're very thirsty? Very. Nous avons très soif. We are very thirsty. Très. Okay. Trying to think of other ways of saying we have very, very something. I am very scared. I am very scared. Not just I am scared, but I am very scared. So we need j'ai instead of je suis. You use j'ai. And then what's the one that means fear? Peur. Oui. J'ai peur, but I'm very scared. So I need très. J'ai très peur. Oh, j'ai peur. J'ai très peur. Tu vois? Okay. So let's think. I'm going to just give you a couple of examples here now where I write a sentence and you have to choose the conjugation, and then I'll just go back over which expressions mean what, and then I'll send this video out. So la petite fille, la petite fille, la petite fille. Okay, so what this sentence is going to say is the little girl is hungry, okay? She has hunger. So, which of these conjugations of avoir is correct? So, la petite fille en faim, la petite fille a faim, or la petite fille avait faim. Okay? So you need to know your avoir conjugations. En is the they form, and avait is the vous form. La petite fille a faim. She has. Right? So if you look at a verb table, you'll see il or elle, that's the third person singular, elle a. Okay? So, elle or la petite fille a faim. Reflections, reflections. Okay, let's do another one of those. Okay. Okay. This one is going to say, we are not scared. So it's in the negative. Nous something. In fact, I'll just let you look at that conjugation table there of avoir. This is the line we need because it's talking about we or us, okay? So we. Nous, N apostrophe, and then it's either going to be on or avait or avant. It's one of those. Nous n'avons pas. Remember, a negative sentence needs a ne and a pas generally. Nous something pas peur. Okay, voila. Let's see if I can do this without that dreaded light getting in the way. So, nous, and then N apostrophe because the verb that follows starts with a vowel. Nous something nous ne something pas peur. Okay, this should be quite easy because all present tense nous verbs end with ONS. Okay, so nous n'avons pas peur. Nous n'avons pas peur. Nous n'avons pas faim. Nous n'avons pas soif. Nous n'avons pas chaud. Nous n'avons pas froid. For example. If you're saying how old we are, if we're both the same age, nous avons pick an age. 50 ans. Nous avons 50 ans. So in the negative, these will be maybe a little bit difficult, or a little bit more difficult. So let's do some in the negative. Let's do j'ai in the negative. So je n'ai pas. Je n'ai pas. So the way that you make any of these negative in the je form is put a ne and a pas around, oh that's not going to work, is it? Ne and a pas around the verb. Let's go in a little bit. Just get in a little wee bit like that. Un peu trop. Je n'ai pas foi. This is one way to do it. Just write it a little bit further over. So j'ai froid becomes je n'ai pas froid. I am cold. I am not cold. J'ai chaud. Je n'ai pas chaud. I'm hot. I'm not hot. J'ai faim. Je n'ai pas faim. I'm hungry. I'm not hungry. J'ai soif. Je n'ai pas soif. J'ai raison. That's one that I like. I'm right. Je n'ai pas raison. Ah, I'm not right. J'ai tort. Ah, I'm wrong. Je n'ai pas tort. I'm not wrong. Oh, j'ai peur. Je n'ai pas peur. Okay. Very, very good. Okay, so let's go through them again. In fact, what I'll do now is I'll write some down on my little board. Write some down on the back of here, and you're going to have a think about what they mean. Qu'est-ce que ça veut dire avoir peur? Avoir peur. Oh, j'ai peur. To be scared. Ça, c'est un peu vrai en ce moment. Avoir faim. J'ai faim. En fait, j'ai très faim. J'ai faim. Avoir faim. To be hungry. Très bien. Ok. Avoir soif. Avoir soif. To be. You have to kind of think about the way that was written then. Avoir soif. To be thirsty. Ok. Avoir plus âge. Par exemple, j'ai 2 ans. You wouldn't probably say j'ai 2 ans if you had 2 ans. J'ai 15 ans. Avoir 15 ans. Avoir 10 ans. Avoir plus an age is to be X age. Okay? That's how you write âge in French. Oh, c'est difficile avec cette lumière. Je suis désolée, mais c'est un peu... J'aime pas trop en fait les reflets comme ça. Avoir faim, avoir peur, avoir soif, avoir âge. Okay, how about when you want to say to be right or to be wrong? To be right. So you can think about the word reasonable. Okay, avoir raison. Comme ça, and it's not pronounced raisin, okay, it's raison, avoir raison, comme ça, and the opposite is avoir tort, to be wrong. Avoir raison, avoir tort. Sorry, I've had to move my office around quite a lot today, so I'm just messing around with these the lights. It's all changed around actually between every lesson, every video I've had to do. Okay, and what does that leave? That leaves avoir froid and avoir chaud. Okay, so there's 8 expressions with avoir instead of être, as you might expect if you're an English speaker, a native English speaker, and you can find out more by looking for expressions with avoir, or expressions with être in French, and you can also follow the link included in my club handout if you'd like to do some more exercises on this very thing. Merci beaucoup et à la prochaine fois. Au revoir.